Not all narcissists are serial killers, but most serial killers tend to be narcissists. Kind of scary when you put it that way, right? We're here to help you make sure that your first date with someone who has this personality disorder is also the last. If you love to talk about yourself, you're not alone, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're a narcissist. Research has found that for many, their favorite topic is themselves, with people spending an estimated 60% of a conversation on the subject. When it comes to how much time we indulge in our favorite topic on social media, that number goes up to 80%, according to Scientific American. But as much as most of us could talk about ourselves all day, we still know when to pause, ask questions about the other person, and have a back-and-forth dialogue. We know how to talk with people, not at them. Narcissists don't have the capability of talking with people because their ego is so inflated that they can only see themselves.
I work on Wall Street. I'm Pearson Pierce. Have you heard of it?
Even if you attempt to jump into the conversation, whether it be on a dating app or a first date, you'll either be ignored, talked over, or the narcissist will feign interest for the briefest of moments before going back to talking about themselves. While this behavior is also linked to their lack of empathy, it's not always easy to see it that way in the early stages of dating someone. That's why you need to pay attention to how much they discuss themselves and decide whether it's a glaring red flag or not. When people accomplish goals or fulfill their dreams, that's definitely something to be excited about, and of course they want to share it. It's important to be proud of your successes, whether they're big or small, and relish in them. But a narcissist takes this to a whole other level, a level in which they brag incessantly about not just what they've achieved in life, but the money they've made, their social standing, and a whole bunch of things that they're likely far more impressed by than you are.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Although some people are just natural braggers, where the narcissist red flags come in is when they downplay your successes, especially while comparing them to theirs. It's a technique that they use over and over again, so much so that people who are in relationships with narcissists can feel unseen, neglected, and unable to express themselves because of how their narcissistic partner suppresses them, according to Psych Central. You should never have to sit through a date where someone is constantly trying to one-up you when it comes to accomplishments. Success looks different to different people, and having someone you just met belittle your achievements isn't just wrong, but manipulative and unhealthy. Narcissists are notoriously entitled. They firmly believe that they are deserving of everything they want and need, no matter how extravagant or unrealistic it might be. It's this entitlement that they feel gives them free rein to do whatever it takes to satisfy their desires, including using people, lying, and ignoring facts. According to a 2020 study published in the journal Personality and Individual Differences, narcissists, especially those who are grandiose in their attitude, are so overconfident, so entitled, and so lacking in self-awareness that they have a very high likelihood of making bad decisions. When the outcome of those decisions backfires, they never take responsibility for it. Instead, they blame someone else or simply act as if the outcome was out of their hands.
I'm not going to be drawn into defending myself when all I wanted to do was bring you in on a good deal.
A perfect example of this type of behavior on a date might look like them ordering a latte or a cocktail and then blaming the barista or bartender because it doesn't taste the way they want it to, and probably making a scene about it in the process. The drink could have been made exactly by the book, but to a narcissist who doesn't get their way, everyone else is to blame. And because of that, they'll feel entitled to a round of free drinks, a comped dinner, or something else equally obnoxious. When someone lacks empathy and suffers from a superiority complex, as narcissists do, they have an inherent need to make those around them second-guess their choices. If you show up to a date wearing something that you love and think you look fantastic in, a narcissist will be sure to strip you of your self-esteem as quickly as they can. For example, they might say something like, "I wouldn't expect you to be able to pull off that color, but it looks good on you." Or if it's a first date, "Your photos online made it difficult for me to recognize you." As long as they can take your self-confidence down a bit, then they'll feel as though they've won, and a narcissist always has to win, even if there isn't a prize to claim for it. If you walk away from a date feeling completely awful about yourself, that's your red flag to not only never see them again, but block them. One of the most confusing and infuriating things you have to look out for when it comes to narcissists is their ability to be charming. These people exude charm in a way that can be so darn intoxicating that you don't know which end is up anymore.
All the time in the world.
Sometimes, depending on what type of narcissist you've stumbled upon, you might even find yourself love-bombed. At first, this can feel great, because who doesn't want to be swept off their feet? But what's important to realize is that a narcissist isn't love-bombing you because of you. It's because they need you to praise and admire them for this type of behavior. Psychotherapist and relationship counselor Denise Dunn told In Style, "This type of psychological manipulation is deeply problematic and is unlikely to develop into something healthier. My advice is to get out of the relationship by cutting all emotional ties and communication. Someone with narcissistic traits will often try and entice you back, even if just for an argument." Although being able to pinpoint all these red flags early on isn't as simple as one would hope. Just being able to recognize one or two should be enough to end things before things get too serious. You don't want to stick around and see what other red flags might pop up over time. Once you're in a relationship with a narcissist, the power they hold over their partner is so strong that, for many, trying to break free can be nearly impossible.